Welcome, beautiful people. It's another great day. We are joined by, our neighbors right there in Burtonsville. You know how Laurel touches many counties: Montgomery County, Howard County, Anne Arundel, mostly in Prince George's. And so, I thought it was important to have our neighbors on. Thank you for joining us, Venus. Oh, and we have some more visitors. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Of course.
No worries. Glad to be here.
Of course. So, this is part of the Herbiculture and Ceylon House team. But for the people out there who don't know about you guys, tell them a little bit about yourself, and I'll get out.
Absolutely.
You decide who goes first.
So, India, Lenysa, I'm gonna let you start off, and then I'll take it from there.
All right, sweet. So,
Yeah.
ladies first.
Well, my name is Lenysa. Lenysa Gartner. I am the event manager / general manager of Ceylon House, Maryland's first cannabis consumption lounge. I joined the team for a few months ago. I've been with the team, just building us, getting us started, getting us open, and so that's my role with the team.
I'm India. I'm the general manager over Herbiculture, also the assistant to the assistant, also the assistant to the assistant of Venus, which will shortly introduce herself. I've been here for about 8 months. I've been in the cannabis industry since 2018. I started my journey at Curio and then ended up here and been happy ever since. I love growing, vibing out here in Burtonsville. Is definitely a different clientele, which I really love. The patients are awesome. They're humble. They're generous. They definitely show appreciation of us being here. So, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll give you a little bit of a background on who we are. So
That's the best.
Herbiculture and Salon House we are one of the very few minority and women owned and operated companies and dispensaries right now in the state. With us, having the opportunity now to potentially get a grow and a processing operation up as well, being the only essentially minority vertical hopefully would be in Maryland. And Salon House is something that's new to our roster. This is something that has been in the works for a long time. I want to say from 2019, to have a consumption space, a safe space for patients to come in and consume their medicine. And so that's what we aim to provide. And we finally got our doors open early, I want to say in March. And here we are. So thank you, Martin, for really reaching out to us and just kind of getting this partnership started and connection started so that we could let folks know what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you brought up many great things. For one, I want to say, for people out there, I'm sure they know, some call me the Cannabis Councilman, but, I'm a medical patient. So I've been to Herbiculture many times before, I actually toured Ceylon House. So yes, you guys have a great facility over there. And, I think one of the things that should be highlighted is that the future is female, right? And that
Yes.
like you guys are minority owned, operated, woman owned, operated, and it feels like a family culture. When I come around, so that's one thing that just kind of highlight.
And I will
For
say
sure, for
for
sure.
me culturally, like work culture, that was super duper important to me with any position that I'm in. And I think that made that very known when we were communicating and getting in this role. So I say that to say when you mentioned family, I've been here for maybe like 4 or 5 months, and I already feel like literally this is my family. And it's to me, it's the vibe, it's how cohesive we are, how well we work together. Even if one of us isn't having a great day, we know how to communicate with each other in such a way. It's always great, respectful, understanding, loving. So for me, I know that the big thing is most folks don't necessarily like going to work or whatever the case. They say you want to go to work and do something you love. To me, this doesn't always feel like work because it's actually something I love, and I love working with the people I work with. So you were definitely on that when you talk about the culture and the feel of the place.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, it feels good to like work for a company when I report to somebody who looks like me. It lets people know in the Black and brown community that it's possible. Like all those little like Black girls and brown girls, like it's possible. Like not to be funny, but we run the world. Without us, there really is no existence. You know what I mean? So it just feels good to have that back, and it's all female energy. Like it's a vibe. It's a positive vibe. It's a loving vibe, and it's an adoring vibe. And I just want everybody to come on for the journey. It's definitely love. I've had my eye on herbiculture for like what, a year and a half, before I even got in. So like I've been like stalking them, and now I'm here. So like that's what got me on board, and the fact that I answered directly to like the CFO, the COO, and they again look, talk, and feel just like us.
Yeah.
It's empowering, especially in the cannabis industry. It's empowering.
And Martin, as you mentioned, the future is female. I think it's always been female. I just think now that we finally have that platform where our faces and voices and things are actually being seen. So I feel like we've always been kind of at the background and the push behind a lot of things, but now we're able to be on the forefront and say, hey, this is our thing, this is what we're doing. And yeah. So.
Yes. I mean, I met so many great dynamic women in cannabis. And what I also see from, a lot of these women in cannabis is they also want to help other women, thrive and get into the space. So, organizations like Supernova or Grow Woman, so I definitely, those are definitely some organizations that, definitely look to make sure that there's more ownership, coming from women in cannabis. And a lot of things I still tell people is that the cannabis market, especially in Maryland, is still immature. So there's still a lot of space to grow, and there's still a lot of industry out there, right? And we do want to make sure that the people that look like us, we can then go work for them. One of the things you brought up was Curio, and Curio for the most part definitely has a tainted, checkered history. Especially from the medical perspective. I know me personally, I'm only buying Curio on discount. But I will say, aside from picking on Curio, one of the things that you brought up was you brought up a different clientele. And so like, what exactly does that mean? I know that like there's more flower consumption than there would be like concentrates, especially down here in the Prince George's, I guess, Montgomery County area, as opposed to probably somewhere like Baltimore County or Western or Eastern Maryland. And so
exactly. So here it's more like I've noticed out here is a more urge to learn. So like literally when I say like we educate to medicate, they take it seriously out here to where as though they ask us to teach cannabis 101 classes, how to use a dab machine, how to roll a doobie, how to stuff cones. They like want to learn how to microdose, how to use transdermal, whereas that stigmatism, oh, we just want the highest THC. We kill that stigmatism. It's literally about the medicinal benefits that we offer and how we can take it to the next level. I mean, like you have people who are coming in getting off of narcotics, your Percocets, your Oxycontins, your Dilaudid, like people who used to be on Adderall, just using strains like Durban Poison or Girl Scout cookie to get their focus and get that tunnel vision on with a hint of limonene. So I mean, it's I love the medicinal aspect of it out here.
Right. One other thing I want to touch on that as well is,
Absolutely.
certainly with us having now been, here for, I want to say almost 6 years, right? Like the medical market here in Maryland. I think there is a transition a little bit as folks get a little bit more comfortable in trying the medicine, to, resorting to things like either, vaping or edibles, because those are things that are kind of easy to use. Sometimes flower could be a little bit intimidating, when you're starting out. So I think, having those products in the market is still important, especially with rec coming up. For anybody who wants to try it, something that's less intimidating is still here for you, right? And I know India does a great job kind of making sure we have a whole slew of varieties, even at Herbiculture, that's available for you if you want to try something other than smoking, right? So just want to put that out there.
It's all avenues out here, and like that's what I'm saying. I love it. It gives you that chance to teach and spread the knowledge that is vastly ignored because there's that stigmatism. Everybody just wants the highest THC, and everybody is into flower, and that's not the case. So that's my biggest take back from it.
Well, I think you brought up great things. For one, Venus brought up the fact that there is variety in what people need, right? And then also there's a variety in methods of consumption. So I'm commonly telling people that you don't necessarily have to roll it up and smoke it. There's many different ways you can ingest it. You can put it on. You can put it in your tea. You can put it in your food. There's many different ways. And a lot of people who are sometimes weary to THC, a lot of times I push them to try, either like one-to-ones or either something like more CBD based or, you know, something that necessarily isn't a high THC, right? Like, one of the things that I found out from being a medical patient was, you know, not being a THC chaser. You know, when I first came
Yes.
in, I was like, oh, I want the 30s, you know, I want whatever is the highest percentage. And then I started, you know, experimenting and learning more about the terpenes and like,
Right.
hey, well, my body reacts differently to this, and, you know, pinene makes me freak out, and, you know, these that and the third. But, you know, things like that were helpful, you know, in the process of becoming an educated consumer. And I guess that the overarching question is, you know, opioid reduction is great. I do know you mentioned that, and a lot of times I mention that in Annapolis. But how do you feel about this recreational market and you know the I guess the commercialization, you know, that is going to come? Do you still think that there's going to be a desire to educate? And, you know, I know that there'll still be a need to educate, but do you think there'll still be a desire to educate, especially from, you know, the different business partners?
Absolutely. I think with rec coming, it's going to be more time
More
and
reason
more
to
reason
educate.
to educate. Just
Yeah.
because you have people coming in and like ignorance is vast, ignorance is bliss, right? So a lot of times you come in, you get a 50 milligram edible, you never had edibles before, it's going to rock your world and it's going to become a negative experience, right? So I think it's more of a reason to educate, more of a reason to start low and start slow and educate yourself before you do medicate. I found just with outpatient clientele, they always ask like, well, what's the change when rec comes? And my answer is always the same. We still geared towards medical, even with recreational patients, we will continue to educate and just kill that stigmatism. Like how you said when you first started, you were all about, hey, I want the 30 percenters. Where I look at it, I'm a terp girl. So how I like to explain it is that THC, that just determines your euphoria. The terpenes are kind of like essential oils of flower. They make you feel the way you feel. So that's what you want. You want the terpene, and then, I mean, yes, you want the THC, but low THC with high terps will do you 20 times better than anything rocking at 35% THC with no terpenes. Then we
Right.
lose the medicinal benefit from it, right? So then
I'm
we just become THC chasers. So I think it's more time, more reason to educate now and then come hard with it so we can still continue to like kill that stigmatism of cannabis just being so negative and people wanting to get high. Like that's just not what it's about because we don't get high. I medicate. You know what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, now is the time. I'm excited. I'm
Sure.
ready. Teach some things, talk to people, especially the recreational clients, just to show them like, hey, we don't always just have to inhale, you know? So I'm excited. I think we'll do great,
Yes.
especially with round. I think it's will be a time for us to teach classes. People are going to show up just to be a part of it, just to learn, especially out here in Burtonsville. It's like I said, they want that yearn to learn. It's here.
Right. And I kind of want to touch on that a little bit as well. I think, you know, regardless of whether it's recreational or medical, I think we use it because either, you know, we're stressed, we're anxious, we need some help sleeping. I think regardless of it, if you consider that medical or recreational, I think we all use it for so, like to help us and make our lives a little bit better. So I think in that sense, that education is 100% important. I know that's why, like for us, that's why Ceylon House was super important to us, so that we have this space. And I know Lenysa can touch on this. We have so many different types of events that are planned, so you can really like, you know, get your, you know, hands wet a little bit and figure out, okay, how do we you know, use this for our daily lives. And I know, like we just had a yoga event that was absolutely fantastic, right, Lenysa? So there was, you know, there's a lot there that we could do with
some
this.
cool things coming up, like of course, like a dab class, you know, for those educating and learning how to dab, how to use these different devices. Because I'm new personally to cannabis. I've had my medical card for I think about like 2 years, 2.5 years. But the dispensaries, some of the dispensaries I went to, I didn't necessarily get education. So I found myself, especially being here, learning about, like you said, the THC levels, terps, different things like that, learning about dabbing and things. So what I would love to do is with this space, be able to provide that to other folks as well, you know, so they're like maybe intimidated. Like I was a little intimidated with dabbing, you know, so providing a dab class where someone can come in, educate the different ways to use it, different levels, the different effects, all that good jazz. But then also outside of like those fun classes, doing educational classes. So like she was saying, the Cannabis 101, Terps 101, just learning about what's even happening with future rec and things like that. So providing those type of events for this space is definitely one of our main goals. And yeah, how kind of plan to use the space.
Yes, and I want to say, you know, as I did go on a tour, it's a beautiful space, and you know, I invite more, you know, more safe spaces, you know, like the one that they created, because you know, being a community leader is important, right? Like, because, you know, I also have to hear the good and the bad, and to quell people's concerns. And one of the things that I believe is, you know, safe consumption spaces, right? And making sure that, you know, there is, like, you know, public smoking areas, right? Like, if you have these butt huts, you know, in these multi-dwelling units, you should also have places where, you know, people who can't, you know, legally consume because of their lease, they should be able to also go to these butt huts, you know. So just common sense things like that. You know, I really applaud you guys. And I think that one of the questions I know that, you know, I had from the audience was, I know, Venus, you're Sri Lankan.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different cultures who have I actually know that in India. So what is, like, the Sri Lankans, like, as a country, like, stance? Are they very pro cannabis? Do they have a long history in cannabis and using?
Yeah, no.
Help
So
me, help me.
it's funny how we got started, right? So I mean, Sri Lanka is this very heavy on like the Eastern medication, so Ayurvedic medication, right? And cannabis is actually part of that, and it has been throughout history has been a part of that. But unfortunately, this war on drugs has really just kind of spread like across the world, right? And there's this stigma still behind about cannabis even in Sri Lanka. So it has been, even, you know, when we got started, it was about 10 years ago when we got into this industry. And, you know, everybody was like, what? What are y'all doing? But I think there's now, you know, a lot more talk behind cannabis and about cannabis. What is it helping you with? What can you use it for? They're even now looking into, at least in Sri Lanka, to looking into legalizing, and at least at the medical level now, because it's always been part of our culture. So I'm glad that there is a lot more conversation behind it. It's not just in Maryland, but, you know, just across the world, just making this something that's normal as it should be, right? So.
And I think on the lines of even normalizing, and then piggybacking off of what you mentioned about safe space, even with this space being open and this space being right next, you know, to Herbiculture Dispensary, these are participants and medical patients who do this every day. Even with them knowing that it's okay, even with them knowing they have their medical card, even with that, they still have their own fears and stigmas around it. So about the space and being able to come in and consume. So that's also one of like our main goals, is letting people know that this is a safe space. It is okay. You can come here, consume, meet other folks like you, and know that, you know, it's a good place for you to be able to come. So yeah.
To learn, to ask questions,
Yeah.
to, like, again, community.
Yeah.
It's about community. In the cannabis community, we don't really have community, if that makes any sense. Like, we don't have a space where we can come and be us and exist, right? Without being patrolled or why are you, why are you there? Like, this is the opposite of that, right? So here, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, when you come in these doors, it is a safe place.
And one thing I do love about our space and our demographic is we have a little bit of everyone. So for like our grand opening event, we had every age group, every race, every ethnicity, just anything you could think of. It was a mixed crowd. And I think that when those folks came together, it was more like, okay, this space is here. You know, it's other folks that don't look like me. It's people who do look like me. It's, you know, from this race, creed, religion, whatever the case. But with that being said, it showed people that we do have this complete open space, so that we all can kind of like come in and mesh together, no matter what your background is, no matter what your demographic is, and the fact that it's a safe space.
For sure.
And just general, like, just from what I've been here noticing, like when they talk and they meet, it's like, oh, it's your neighborhood teacher, it's your neighborhood doctor, it's your neighborhood lawyers. You know what I mean? So in that sense, it makes it feel good. Like, cannabis helps everybody. Cannabis doesn't discriminate. The healing powers don't discriminate, you know? So it just feels really good.
Right. And one thing I noticed too with, and I've been kind of speaking to folks about this, the difference with, you know, a consumption, like a cannabis consumption space versus a bar, right? Folks that come in here, you know, they use their product, they walk out happy, heads held high, you know, and, you know, just ready to take on their day, versus when you would go to like a bar and everybody's just getting drunk and just, you know,
Yes.
it's not the same. It's such a different experience. And I love it. It's just empowering, and just, you know, like you can take on the day a little bit better. So It's been
That's
amazing to kind of experience that.
Judge-free. It's
Mhm.
judge-free environment. Like,
Exactly.
nobody's
Agreed.
worried about what you're doing. Like, it just feels good to be a part of something so inclusive.
And I know I just stepped back in, but even talk about inclusive on one of our days, we actually had a whole family come in. So there
Yeah,
was like
so
a whole patient family, from the mom, the dad, I think it was the aunt, and it was 2 daughters. But it literally was just like a whole family that came in, all patients, and they came, consumed. Again, I think I kind of stepped in talking about how it's sort of similar to a bar. So, a cannabis space isn't everybody's cup of tea, and that's completely fine. But the same way some folks will go to a bar, have them a little shot, drink, and kind of converse in that way, that's the exact same thing that we're doing here. But for those who may not necessarily want to go to a bar, they just want to come and consume. It's still that family space. It's still that open space, comfortable.
Hey, absolutely. I agree. And, one of the things that you brought up was communal. I think cannabis has always been communal. I've met so many people around the world, in my area because of the plant, right? And one of the things you said is like, there is there, there's something in the plant for everybody, right? And as I also mentioned, to people, is just like understanding that cannabis is very complicated, right? And we're still learning so much about the plant, because there's years of research that we were denied, and that still has to be done. And so, like, I think that your guys' space is going to be, a critical piece of, Maryland, and, the future of Maryland cannabis. And I look to see you guys grow and develop. I did hear about the cultivation. I know you mentioned the cultivation and processing. I was on one of the calls, so I did hear that you guys, are one of the licensees, and, definitely wishing you guys the best. Where are you guys looking to develop? It's not an
Yeah, so
instant.
we're gonna be right in Baltimore City. The reason we chose that is because, like, for us, as you can see, diversity, equity, inclusion is a huge part of our culture and who we are as a company. As a minority woman, the amount of discrimination I've faced trying to get this done has been ridiculous, and I know these lovely ladies have gone through that same thing. And so we strive to cultivate this culture, provide opportunities at leadership levels, so that we can show off what we can do as women, as minorities. And so keeping that in mind, that's why we had chosen Baltimore City. That's where we think that we can give the most opportunity and make the most impact. And so we're looking to set up, somewhere in Pigtown. And so we're excited to get that process going. We've been working with Baltimore City to try and get our operations up.
Yes, yes, I love to hear it. I commonly say that the Baltimore City County area is like a cannabis mecca right now, right? There's so many good businesses, and people in that area, right? And so I'm glad to hear you guys aren't going to be too far. And so is that are you looking to have both the cultivation and the processing at the same place?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
the
So
okay.
to start off, yes, that's where we'll be. We're excited. We're trying to get our kitchen up as well, so we get some nice edibles coming your way. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of, and including our processor. We're excited. There's a lot of new things that we're bringing to the market. Excited to bring to the market because we've been in this and serving patients for over 5 years now with our dispensary, and so we get to hear the direct feedback, and we know what folks are looking for, and that's why we're super excited to just kind of get that going and bring these down to folks. So yeah, lots of opportunity there to grow as well.
Yes, and I also saw that you guys I guess picked up, or one was returned, one of my good friends from Greenpoint. So I see he's back at home, and I wanted to give him a shout out as well. And so Chris, he's now back at home. He's at Herbiculture, and
Yeah.
I definitely want to give
Crispy,
him a shout
welcome
out.
back home, Crispy.
Yes, yes. He always took care of me at Greenpoint, and so when I found out he was back at Herbiculture, it was definitely good, and seeing him most recently, he seems very happy to be back. So
No.
definitely, yes,
Yeah,
I want to.
And I was
wanna
saying, you
make
said
sure
for a
to that
fact,
out.
like, how could you leave us for so long?
He couldn't stay away for that long.
Exactly. I mean, 'cause that's one of the things that I've seen in the cannabis, retail, because is the turnover, right? So
Yeah.
like, do you guys feel that you guys do better than some of your competitors with turnover? Because I'll tell you, some dispensaries I see new people like leaving every day and coming in every day. Like, how do you guys feel? Do you feel it's still difficult to retain, I guess quality employees, workers?
Right. So the way we
Go ahead, V.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, the way we typically how we onboard is with that understanding that cannabis is still new. So what we're looking for when we're hiring is, do you have the the retail or the customer service experience? And I know India can speak on this a lot more than me because she's the one who's doing the hiring. But that's really our focus, because we can provide you with the cannabis knowledge. So with that being said, a lot of folks that come through our doors are beginners and are new and are learning and are excited to have that opportunity, because we're here to give that opportunity. So in that sense, we have a lot of great team members, but sadly turnover is what it is, unfortunately, in the cannabis industry. It is, and it being retail, it is difficult. I mean, we see typically like the 6-month mark is what we're seeing, but there's a lot I think that we offer at Herbiculture with regards to our culture. We treat everybody here like family, like hands down, and you can speak to any of our staff members and then tell you that, right? And certainly there are needs for different people that lead them to maybe no longer be with us, but it's still we're still a 100% family culture, and that's kind of what we offer here at Herbiculture. And I know India can speak to it a little bit more than I could.
Just to piggyback off of that, I think we do a lot better than our competitors, because everything I do with TLC, and you can ask my staff. Like, what you see is what we get. We are really good at being transparent and showing up authentically ourselves every day. I think what sets us apart from everybody else is just me running it, also because I'm amazing. But two, we understand what it's like to be people.
Human.
So like,
exactly.
I told V, coming from different dispensaries, like I came from Curio, and then I did a little bit of time at Harvest, formerly known as Harvest, now True Leaf. And to be here is literally like a breath of fresh air. Like, we know that we have outside variables that happen, right? So when you come into work, you see somebody that's late 3 or 4 times, I'm not writing you up. I'm not giving you points. I'm asking you, what can I do to make it easier for you? Do we need to put you on later shifts? Do you need to be on a mid shift versus an open shift? Help me help you. And I think by us coming in like that, and as humans and as people, we kind of keep people around a little bit longer. But like you said, Chris left, went to go see other ventures, and he came back home because he knew, like, that at heart, we love, we care, and we handle people as such. Like, with us, you're not just a social security number. You're not a tax write-off. You're a person. Before you're an employee, you're a person. And I think we do a really good job at treating people like people. We understand mental health. We understand people have kids, car trouble, and we are accommodating to that. We don't chastise. We don't traumatize you. We don't make you feel bad. We embrace you, and we figure out what we can do to make it better, so we could be a better us. Not so you can be a better you, but so we can be a better us.
And I think one of the things
we do is never I.
Yeah.
It's we. So we mess up as a team. When we win as a team. One band, one sound. That's just how we are here. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to cut you off. And I would say one of the things being able to show up as our authentic selves. So for me, that was the most important thing for me. So my background is not in cannabis, as we discussed. Most of my background is in hospitality management, event planning, things like that. But even with that, for me, being able to show up as my true authentic self, no matter who that is for that day, we all show each other love and respect, knowing that I have that, knowing that I don't have to put on a certain mask or face when I come to work, not only allows me to feel comfortable, but allows me to do my job and do my job efficiently.
Because y'all are making me cry. No, it really just it really was
to get a raise or bonus or anything.
I'm happy to hear that. Like, it's the direct feedback to me, because that's something that we've really strived to do. Because I've been a budtender. I was budtending. I was the receptionist. I was the janitor. And we've done literally everything. We're a small family-owned business, right? We're trying to do big things, and so it's nice to know that like we know how we want to be treated as people, and that's what we aim to do, and we look at you like a person. And so I'm happy to hear that feedback from you, and I'm happy that that's something that we do strive to cultivate as well continually.
Yeah. Unwavering support, effective communication, and transparency will get you so far, and we pride ourselves on those 3 things. Showing up is half the battle. Once you get here, I can teach you to do whatever we need to do.
Yes. Hey, I appreciate. I almost want to come work for you guys, right? Like, definitely will work with you. Definitely will work with you.
We'll put your reception. We'll put your reception. You can be the face.
Yes. And so, I think my last big question was, what does July 1st mean for you guys? Ceylon House, the dispensary. I know that a lot of the dispensaries will be going, somewhat recreational, and the only difference will be point of sale, for a lot of those already existing people. You guys, plan to participate, and then I guess, what does that mean for the cannabis event lounge? Is it, what does that mean in July 1st? Do you guys open it up, or what are the expectations? And then the last question, do you guys have Viola, or are you guys getting Viola?
Yes, and yes, and yes. There's a lot there. So I'll start off with, are we going to be partaking in recreational? 100%. As I said, like for us, whether it be rec or medical, I think we all use it for us to have a better quality of life. And so that will stand to be true regardless, right? And so, but what we do want to make sure that patients are prioritized and they get their medication, because I can't imagine going without my meds. And so with that being said, we'll be implementing so many different things within our dispensary to make sure that patients are prioritized, making sure that we have express lines and things like that that's there for you. So when you come in, you can come to the top of the line, get your medication that you're prioritized. So there, as the bill gets passed, as regulations get passed, we will have a better understanding of what that would look like, because compliance is, one of our number one things. We want to make sure we're good. And so with that being said, even with Ceylon House, there's a lot of things that we don't know what to expect. Our goal is 100% to serve, once it goes recreational, to be able to have anybody come in and use the space, as long as you're 21 and over, to come in, caveat. But it all depends on what ends up happening, what's written in the bill, how are we, because we are continually working, continually working with the Department of Health and the county to make sure we're okay, what we're doing is okay, so that's the number one thing that we want to make sure that we're good. So right now we're the plan is, without really knowing what's coming, we are excited and ready for July 1. I know Lenysa's already like cooking up a whole slew of events for that.
I can't wait.
Yep. So
and I will speak on up until that point. So of course, July 1st, we will know what our parameters are, what all the things that we can and can't do, like you said, once the bill is done. But up until that point, we do also have events that are going on from now up until July 1st that are tailored specifically towards Maryland medical patients. So those events will still be going on. Those kind of things we still can do. But then come July 1st, it just opens us up to so much more. So yeah, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, and on the dispensary level,
for sure. And Viola, inventory.
So Viola, I believe we have great relationships with all the HB2 licensees, including Viola. I know they're just in the process of getting their grow set up. I'm not sure if they have their processing set up just yet, but once their products are in, we are more than happy to, we're excited to be carrying those products. So for look out for that once they're in the market.
Shout out. All right. And so I had a couple rapid questions, less thinking. What is your favorite terpene and why?
Oh, can I go first?
Absolutely.
Oh, my favorite is myrcene. It's always been. I love the way it smells. I love the way it tastes. I love the way it makes me feel. I need something to help me sleep and help me with my nerve pain. It does all of that. So.
She took mine.
She took mine too. So
the backup.
That's why I wanted to go first, y'all.
Myrcene system.
For me, terpinolene would be the next one. Terpinolene for me gives you that relaxation without making you feel sluggish and tired and sleepy, but it also gives you like a little pep to your step. So it's kind of like terpinolene, perfect description, is like myrcene with a hint of limonene in it. So you're still relaxed, you're still functioning, you can still do your thing, but feel good while you're doing it. And then caryophyllene is right there, right behind it, because it's good for muscle spasms, muscle memory, sciatica, like even good for the belly, your digestive system. Like, so caryophyllene is close third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I told you guys, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, hey, you got it.
Hey, I love it. And I was gonna say, for me, like I said, I'm just learning and educating, but so far, I would say mine is myrcene as well. For me, I am a move fast girl, so I'm like always moving. So sometimes I need something to kind of like, boost me down, kind of take me from my 10 to a 2. Going to sleep at night is a huge thing for me as well. So myrcene helps with that. And I will say, depending on like what my focus of the day is, I might do a little hybrid with some limonene in it, but always myrcene heavy.
Yes. Okay. Limonene definitely my favorite for sure.
I was about to ask you.
And so favorite strain and why?
I'm gonna have to think on this one.
Ooh.
Sorry,
because I know I've been having. Well, it's hard to pinpoint one because there's like some really good stuff out there right now. But I want to.
Sometimes it's what you like right now, as opposed to favorite of all time.
Yeah, right now I want to say Burnt Toast. Burnt Toast, I think number 4 by Rhythm. It's been fantastic for me. It has a lot of linalool, at least the batch that I have, along with myrcene. So it's perfect for any relaxation. If you have anxiety issues, oh man, like. It's just been fantastic for me. So that's been my favorite so far.
I'm going to write that down for my list today.
For me, it's been the pound cake Tyson 2.0. I've been on that for like 2 months now. Like anytime it comes in, I'm grabbing it. For me, it always has over 4% terps. So it's super well balanced in the limonene and myrcene aspect with like a hint of terpinolene. For me, it starts off like super funky, giggly, and then mellows me out the end, which I love about it. And the buzz like all dark and purple and damp. Oh my God, it's beautiful. If you haven't tried it, everybody go grab it from Herbiculture, of course.
From Herbiculture. And so this is a deviation. It's a little bit of a bonus trick question. So, any good strains there that, are high in osamine? I've been definitely, looking for more flowers with the terpene osamine.
Golden Goat.
Is that the Tyson one? The other Tyson strain had I don't remember which one it is now.
Was it the
Golden Goat?
You talking about the Iron Mac?
Yes. Last time I was looking at it, it had a good amount of osamine in it. As well.
Osamine and Golden Goat. If you could find Golden Goat in flower and in cart, preferably in cart because it's a little bit higher, and it also has a good amount of humulene, so it kills the munchies. Like, yeah, if you can find it in the cart, it's awesome. The flower.
And they got the appetite suppressor on top. I got you.
There you go with the humulene.
Yes. Favorite superhero and why?
Oh man.
I'm not a great person with the favorite.
I'm not. Favorite superhero. Oh my, that's a hard one.
It could be anime too, because I gotta say mine's is like Static Shock and Naruto.
Oh, there you go.
I should have known. I
felt Naruto in there.
Right.
I felt Naruto in there for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shit.
Okay, that's it.
I'm bored now.
Wait, and you said they don't have to be really a superhero, though, right? Like you're not talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes people say their mother or their, I
love Wonder Woman. Has been fantastic to me because I think she's versatile. She's strong. She can do whatever. And she looks fly. So
I love it.
Yes, and representation matters.
I'm going corny. I'm going Mom Dukes.
Yeah.
Without her, I wouldn't be who I am right now. So I'm going Mom Dukes all day, every day. All day.
Always.
She supports me. I'm with the support.
Poem about my
campus industry.
Yeah.
Mom Dukes.
Always. And do you have one as well, or where we going? Nope. Okay. Hey.
And I'm trying to think hard too. Like I'm going cliche, and if I am going to go cliche, it's going to be my dad all day.
I was gonna say,
you already know Venus. You already know.
Yes. Give him his flowers. So
he's my boom. So if I was going to say that, definitely.
Yeah. And then you can put Flash in a close second.
Flash is a close second.
Yes. I was watching that for a few series, and then it got a little out of hand, but
it did.
I agree with you.
Arrow.
Yeah, exactly. They're just trying to make money at this point.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure to give you guys another shout out. I know that you guys helped support the last expungement clinic, and definitely look forward to working with you guys. And you have great ancillary staff. Carlo always speaks highly of you, even though I just met you personally. He's talked about it for many months. So yes, definitely want to give you guys a shout out, and then just want to give a shout out to all those Canna parents out there, because that's something we also talked about is and I think at the state level there were some bills that were also making sure to rectify that there wasn't harm brought to Canna parents and things of that nature, and just changing the stigma. And so I definitely want to give a shout out to all the Canna parents out there.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
And so tell everybody where they can connect with you guys, how they can stay connected, and what you guys got going on.
I can start with maybe herbiculture. With herbiculture, you can always, if you go to our website at www.herbiculture.com, you can access our online store, our social media, and literally everything that's going on there. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You name it, we're on there. And then I know with Ceylon House as well, it's ceylon-house.com. And you can, find all of the events that's going on at Ceylon House there at the event calendar. And, I know there's a lot of questions with like, how do I get here? Like, what do I need to do? All the FAQs you would ever need to know is all on the website as well. And I'm going to, let the two of you add on anything else that I missed.
Well, if you ever need to reach us directly, if you ever want anything, any events, if you ever want to come here and maybe tour the place, do a private rental yourself, because I don't know if we spoke on that, but of course, outside of events, the space is also open for rentals. So if you're a person that wants to come and rent the space, have a private space for yourself, that's open as well. But the best way to reach myself would be my email, which is Lenysa, Lenysa, at Ceylon-house. So CEYLON-HOUSC.com. But yeah, that's the best way. And like she mentioned, we're online on the website, as well as we have our Instagram and our Facebook and our Twitter as well.
You can find me live and in person across the hall at Dispo. I do run the Herbiculture Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On a personal level, you can follow me at Indica Smokes. Also under Ugly Duckling _Duckling1. Yep, and that's for like little tidbits on Terp Talks, educational cooking videos. We do it all.
Yes, guys, definitely check them out. And before we leave, I wanted to give a shout out to Connor. He also set up the tour and was very friendly and cordial, and just like all the other staff members. So definitely
want to let folks know who Connor is. Connor is our marketing manager, so he's a huge part of our team as well.
Yes, you got to put it in perspective. Exactly. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys soon, and like I said, thanks again for joining us and everything you do for the medical community, and soon to be responsible adult use and medical community. But continue to educate, and I'll be right there with you guys.
And always.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for having us. Sure. Really appreciate it.
Of course, I appreciate you. See you soon, guys.
All right, see ya.
Hey, that was another episode of People Over Politics. We had, great guests. The first time, I think we had 4 people on, but won't be the last time. That is a dynamic group there. And like they said, check out Herbiculture. Consider becoming a medical patient. I know I have a friend who he's already registered in 1 year 100 different medical patients. And so I salute him, and I salute anybody else who is, pushing this holistic medicine that should have never been legal, decriminalized, or made illegal. Made illegal in the first place. Should be decriminalized. Apologize. And so, everyone, see you next week, and stay blessed. Drink your water.